Here's the situation. HBO Real Sports, and we talked about this. We're going to be doing a feature on Deshaun Watson's situation. They were going to be talking with a couple of the accusers about just some of the claims and those accusations, and giving out some of the details of it. The details from the two accusers that were interviewed by HBO are pretty graphic. A lot of how he would go about it, what the sessions were like as far as the massages go, so on and so forth. Now, Deshaun Watson's representatives did not want to talk with HBO, and then at the last second, I believe it was Leah Brown, Leah Graham rather, who wanted to talk with HBO and gave her side of things, and we can hear from her coming up here shortly. But it felt more so that it was an attack on the women who went back for either another session with Deshaun Watson or state of communication. And then also they went after the Tony Busby, who's representing all these women. It felt like their directive was, we're going to showcase that this guy's looking for some of the glory, that this guy's looking to boost his social media. And it was less about Deshaun Watson and more of an attacking on them, or on Tony Busby and some of the other women, not the two accusers that were maybe featured by HBO. I came away from it feeling the same thing. He's probably going to get suspended. I don't know that this did anything to steer anybody off whatever opinion they had previously, but there were a couple of things that came out that maybe I had forgotten or wasn't unaware of when it came to some of the accusations. A little bit strange, the whole thing.
It's really fascinating how, depending on who you talk to, which outlet it is, like how this entire story is being packaged for absorption, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Okay? If you're HBO, like, they are trying to make sure you realize, like, hey, this has gone on for a couple years now. In the sense of, we haven't gotten any clarification if someone's going to be punished for what 22 women have allegedly gone through. And we're still trying to figure out facts and more information and details to it. So there's that aspect of things where a show like HBO is like, this is a really intriguing story. It could be tragic, in either circumstance, but we're trying to get to the bottom of it because we feel like it's that interesting enough. There's so many different vantage points. And so it's being packaged as, this story that you've got to follow because either one of the NFL's most elite quarterbacks and highest praised figures had a problem and was doing something, one, that's illegal, and two, getting away with it until there was a number of whistleblowers. It's either being packaged as that, or it's being packaged, if you'll believe Deshaun Watson's legal team, that, he wasn't doing anything wrong. Like, this is all part of some process and all that, which is really hard to buy into. But you're either going to be outraged more likely by the 22 allegations than you are by Deshaun Watson, but there's probably people who still defend Deshaun Watson who know him and don't think he could have done anything wrong in this case. But it's basically being packaged in one of those two ways, but it's the way that everyone's going about trying to defend themselves. Like the Deshaun Watson group is just basically trying to point at Tony Busby.
Yeah.
Well, he's the only attorney that would accept this. Well, what do you mean? Some other attorneys wouldn't have? He was probably the only attorney that, A, accepted it, and B, wanted to bring it all together. One of the accusations was that they're saying Tony Busby just wants to get bigger, Twitter or social media following. It's like, really? You're gonna sit here and try to tell us that this is not about 22 separate allegations of what could be some sort of sexual misconduct or I don't know if you want to go as far as saying assault, but like, really, you think this is all just about a social media campaign for Tony Busby?
He did it for the gram. That's what this is about.
Let's just get down to the facts again. And I've said this since day one. It's not 22. It's 44 separate massage therapists because you had 20-plus come out in defense of Deshaun Watson. The dude's got a problem. There's something off about this guy, and that alone admits it. Like, people who are probably in their late 80s or like 80s have never had 40-some people give them massages throughout the history of their life. And you're saying this dude in a few-year period of time had 44 different people working on him? Clearly there's an alternative motive. There's no doubt. And so it's just crazy to me that it's not even it's like discrediting anything and anyone possible. And I understand that's the job probably of his legal team. But I mean, their own admission of it is, if anything happened, it was consensual. Oh, okay, well, you paid her. It's prostitution. Like, how hard is that to see? It's amazing to me how this thing gets thrown around by his legal team. And it's like, at some point, look, he's going to get suspended. I think it'd be awful for the NFL to not give some sort of suspension. I don't know to what degree, and that's the hard part, because this could drag on legally forever. But they've got to give some suspension in this case. It was too graphic listening to all that last night.
To Brady's point, one of the details they gave out was there were multiple massage sessions scheduled a week, and he had over 100 scheduled a year, mostly through Instagram. Like, that's even more than what we've been hearing about for the past couple of years. So yeah, clearly the guy's got some sort of a problem. Like, one of the things he would do, they said that when he showed up to the initial Ashley Solis, who was the original accuser, who was the first one to report it, when he showed up to her house, he declined the towel she had, and he only used like a little small hand towel. Like, it just like
blankie.
Yeah, like it just like the whole thing was set up to where I come away from it going, look, this guy knew what he was doing.
Yeah, massages are to Deshaun Watson like feet are to Rex Ryan.
It's It's weird, man. Like some of the methods, the tactics, like that he did have, some sort of a sexual interaction with multiple women after this all happened. But remember, he told everybody, I have a girlfriend. That wasn't my intent. It's like you just see these flaws in the whole process all the way around, and you just wonder, how does the NFL walk away from this and go, we're not going to pop him at all for any games? No, he's fine here.
My takeaway from it is it's been going on for so long that it seemingly is a topic and a situation that people are becoming tone deaf to. And I wonder if that's a strategy of Deshaun Watson's people. You know, you've made mention of it a few times, Q, that it's going to take a really long time. Like, we have no idea how many years this will, like, if there's one thing's for certain, he is making enough money to drag them out. And if you've ever heard of big money corporations, what they do to people who sue them for, infractions of intellectual properties and different things like that, they drag them out. They take them so far out to sea that they don't have enough resources to continue on. And something happens, and generally speaking, there's some type of settlement. Now, I think the whole idea of creating a tone-deaf audience to this, because this is 100% a court of public opinion type of case that would play into the I guess, benefit of the victims, alleged victims. But the longer it takes, the further out it gets. You gotta be honest. Like what happened in Texas, there are going to be things that continue to happen in society that take away the intensity of focus of what took place with Deshaun Watson. And as you get that far out, you just start to ask yourself, will these accusers get to a point where they're saying, listen, I need my money, and I need money now because life is happening. I need to pay my bills. I need to go on with my life. I need to settle. I wonder if he's dragging them far enough out to see if the plan is to do that, where the settlement turns into something that is very, very minimal and really minuscule to what it is that they originally anticipated or thought was going to take place.
Yeah, it's and then Roger Goodell has said that yesterday that he thinks that this whole investigation is wrapping up soon, but he doesn't have a timeline for when they're going to announce what sort of punishment, if any, they've got for Deshaun Watson. I think June is the month everybody's sort of looking at. It's just, it was weird.
It was mentioned too that the contract felt like a slap in the face.
Yeah,
to the alleged victims, and it's hard to disagree with that. I said it then, I'll say it now. I know John Harbaugh and others have kind of spoken up saying like, oh, and he's the one that gets the contract, right? And I'm not even sure statistically or anything he's done on the field could warrant that at this point in time in his career. But just given the reality of the situation, it's a bit shocking. And I think that's a weight that Roger Goodell is going to have to carry on his shoulders as well as the rest of the NFL if they don't suspend him or if the punishment isn't harsh enough based on what could come out in a court of law. Because if you let him, for example, if you let him play throughout this season and he's out there carrying the flag and representing the NFL, the shield, the NFL always talks, representing the shield, and he's representing the Browns, it's like, yeah, you kind of let him win like he won. Like, as of right now, you'd have to say, regardless of what the perception is out there, he got the highest guaranteed contract in NFL history. He got out of Houston. He's on a new team. They've continually built out around him. And as it currently stands, he faces 0 suspension. If you were to ask whether it's Rusty Hardin or Deshaun Watson privately behind closed doors, have to bring your own towel, they would probably tell you they're winning right now. Like, you look up on the scoreboard, they're winning. And so to LaVar's point, whether it's people have become, a little more tone deaf to it or numb to it because it's dragged out so long and it will continue to drag out. Yeah. And that's how they're winning with this whole situation. He's getting away from stuff. But I hope people don't look away too far, and I hope they hold him accountable.